Okay, today I'm going to be making spinach stuffed garlic herb marinated chicken. I'll have about 2 pounds of chicken to start with, and then we have about 2 ounces of spinach here, and that was frozen fresh leaf spinach, but I froze it so I can work with it better. We're going to be seasoning our spinach with kosher salt and then black pepper, and then for our chicken we're going to marinate it in Mrs. Dash salt-free zesty garlic herb. We're also going to be injecting the chicken today with the zesty garlic herb. We're going to inject all these pieces with the same thing that we're going to marinate it in, actually, and we're going to be baking this, and then we're going to put a little bit of Weber's Kickin' Chicken seasoning, which does have salt in it, so we're just going to put a little bit of that on there before we marinate it, so it'll have a little bit more of a actual salt instead of the Mrs. Dash no salt. And the oil that's used basically just to spray our cooking injector here, and to get that out of there. If you don't spray it, it won't slide in and out of the deal. So basically we won't be able to inject food. We want that to be slide with ease. So I'm going to go ahead and get the seasoning put in the injector, season our chicken, season our spinach, and this will be about a two serving dish, 2 pieces of chicken apiece. So take about 45 minutes to bake that, if not longer, depending on if you want your skin to be crispy. I'm leaving the skin on mine. I don't bake hindquarters and legs and things. I usually leave the skin on there because it adds more juice and it makes it taste better. So you can take the skin off if you prefer, but I like baking with the skin on whole pieces of chicken like this that are not purchased skinless. Okay, basically just to season our spinach, put a little pepper in there and a little bit of kosher salt. You can see that salt, kosher pieces are pretty big there with that particular shaker. Just going to mix that around. And this here, we're going to just kind of cut slits in the chicken and put that in there. We'll really season the spinach because this is, by being a lower salt marinade and minimal salt or seasoning with salt in it going on the chicken. Okay, the spinach can be a little bit salty, but that's alright. So we got that out of the way. Go ahead and get our chicken there. Now what I'm going to do first is just make some slits into the chicken. Okay, so we'll just make some nice slits in the chicken where we're going to inject. We're also going to put spinach in there. And I'm just going to show you how to do a few of these. How to put nice slits in that chicken where you can kind of reach in and see. You want it to be about like that, so you can stick a finger in there, so that way you can stuff it with the chicken. I mean with the spinach rather. So if you have to do a little cutting, that's fine, because you are going to need to put your finger kind of in there. So we're also going to be injecting this as well, so it'll be a little messy when you inject chicken, but that's alright, because that's what gives it the internal flavor. Turn this over. All those nice slits there. If you forget where they're at, just take a finger. You can usually feel where they're at. Okay, so we got some nice slits going on. And what I'm going to do first is just inject this. I'll tighten my injector up so I can use it. Okay. When you inject chicken, you can pretty much stick the injector pretty much anywhere in there. And this is Not wanting to, there we go. Sometimes it can get a little clogged, but that's alright. Just have to squeeze a bit harder. There we go. If you don't feel it coming out, uh-oh. There we go, got some in that. You may have to pull back if you don't feel it coming out. Or unfortunately, my injector was I have two here. I have a narrow one and a fat one. So I had to get the fat one because it wasn't going into the chicken properly. So there, you want to be able to squeeze. There we go. Squeeze. And you can see this will get shorter and shorter with the juice in it. You can feel it coming in and see it coming out of the chicken there. And this is kind of like a dual injector. Cost a decent amount, but you can inject a lot of meat with it. And since this is a rather thick marinade and seasoning ingredient, that's why we would want to use a fatter end on this injector per se. Okay, this is pretty much gone. Okay, what I'm going to do is just fill this back up. And these are pretty simple to work with. You just pour the marinade or whatever type of seasoning you want to put in here is actually good. And then I usually just kind of cover the edge and kind of slowly push this in there. Let the air go out, and you can see when your seasoning gets to the bottom there. And like I say, it's a little messy, but it's be tasty at the end. And then just, you can go in the slits that you make, or you can do your own holes in it. I'm just kind of sticking this anywhere, injecting it. Didn't put the cap on there all the way. Handle on there all the way. There we go. We don't want that coming loose. Okay. Get a little bit more in there. And we'll turn this over. Get a nice amount in there. And you can kind of hear it when it's just about empty. Okay. So we're done with our injecting there. Now what we'll do is go ahead and season it. We'll put a little bit of kickin' chicken seasoning on there. Then we'll stuff it. And then we'll put it, let it marinate. A little bit of seasoning. Flip that over. I don't want to put too much of this here because it does. This here has quite a bit of salt in it, so we'll go light on that. And I think I'll add a little bit of pepper too. Can't cook without adding a little pepper. Turn this over so it don't be hot. As you can see, it's kind of got a golden color to it. And now we're going to just take pieces of spinach, basically. Let me zoom out here. Okay, take pieces of spinach, basically. Feel where you put the slits at. We'll start with these legs, like there. There's one. Just stuff the spinach down in there. Wherever you made slits. And fill another one on this side. I have to make another one. Okay. We got that there, and you can get nice big pieces of spinach down in there too. And that's going to all cook with the chicken. So if you don't feel any slits, just have the knife handy and just make some. Stick it on down in there. Like so. Get one up here. It'll be a kind of small one, but you'd be surprised. You can get your fingers in these small slits that you're making. It seems like there's a lot of spinach, and it should look something like that. The spinach hangs out, so be it. It's going to get eaten up anyway. Be careful if you're doing this with the knife this way, but I'm kind of used to doing this, so I don't worry about cutting myself. Okay, there's a slit there. And this here adds some veggies to the chicken. And flavor. Remember, we seasoned the spinach, so we got vegetables down in there. All through that piece of chicken there. Okay, we'll put one more there. That little piece there. And the rest of this spinach, what we're going to do with it is some nice big slits in that leg and in that thigh there. Should be able to get the rest of this in this chicken thigh, or hind quarter I should say. Like I say, this is a little messy, so if you don't want to get your hands dirty, I advise you to not cook this, because preparation is messy, but the results are quite pleasurable. Okay. I bet that pepper getting in my sinuses there. I'm glad I'm almost done with this. Okay. Get these nice big pieces of spinach in there. Nice big opening there. We got another piece over here. We can cut a nice slit right there. Okay, got that going on. Got a little bit of spinach left, so I'll try to make all crevices filled so I don't have to throw anything away. Put one. Nice little chunk in there. Uh-oh, that one wants to stick. Get out of there. Too moist for that. Okay. And we got one more nice chunk of spinach. We'll put that down in there. Again, this is zesty garlic herb spinach stuffed. Garlic injected chicken. And you can do this with boneless chicken if you like. If you don't want the hind quarters, you can get boneless, skinless, which is healthier. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go ahead and start our marinade process. While you're doing this, I suggest you turn the oven on, and I would put it on about 350 or whatever you generally bake on. And you're just going to put your marinade over this, and it's quite a bit on there from the injection sites in exit areas. So what I'm going to do is get that and just kind of brush that around a little bit. And all we're going to have to do is flip this, and you only need to let this marinate if you're using the Lowry's, or I'm sorry, the Mrs. Dash, Mrs. Dash Zesty Garlic Herb. If you're using this, you only need to let it marinate. It says on here for about 10 minutes. I usually let my marinade sit on there about 30 minutes. It has no MSG in it, no salt, and as you can see, we don't need to put any marinade on the top, as some has collected down in the tray or the little pan there. We're just going to turn that over and flip that way to kind of make that, there we go, put it in there nice and neat in there. Don't like making messes when I cook, but this is one of those dishes where you cannot avoid a mess of some sort. Okay, and then to marinate it, we'll just cover it up with foil or cellophane. Put that on there. And we'll put this in the refrigerator, like I said, for about 30 minutes. And we'll come back, transfer the chicken out of here into another pan where we can, a baking dish rather, and we'll go ahead and bake it. I'm going to do mine for about 45 minutes to an hour. If you want your skins crispy, you can leave it in there longer. And we're going to bake this starting out. We're going to bake it uncovered. And probably through the whole duration it'll be uncovered. See you in 30 minutes. Okay. Well, I am back and ready to take our marinated chicken out of the refrigerator there. And we're going to put it in the oven. Oh, and it smells great. Okay, so what we're going to do, I have a non-stick broiler pan that'll catch those juices. If you use a skinless chicken, probably won't need this type of a pan, but I don't like the chicken cooking in its fat per se. So I try to put chicken on here when I bake it. There we go. And we're going to do this with the skin side up. That's how we'll bake this. We'll give it a little bit of space between there. Now as you can see, there's still quite a bit of marinade on there. Since that has moisture in it, we'll go ahead and get that out of there and put over the chicken. No sense in wasting it. Okay. And what I'm going to do with this here part is just kind of put this back and brush that sauce under that skin. Really get that down in there. You can see our spinach sticking out there. Nice and green, colorful. Nice and healthy. And if you want to use canned spinach, you can also. You can use canned spinach for this. I wouldn't too much recommend dry. I'm sure you can, but I just rather would work with it moist. One of my other dishes I make, I use dry spinach in it. But slide this over some. Get all those on there. Get them all the way across. There we go. Okay, so we're going to put this in the oven for about, like I said, I cook mine for about 45 minutes. I'm going to check on it in about 20 minutes because I'm doing it with the foil off the top. So I don't want this to get too moist and tear apart or anything. So we'll come back and check on it after about 20 minutes and see how it looks. Okay, here we have our chicken is done. The juices are running clear. This is what's up. And that's how you can tell if it's done. You see your juices run clear, or you can take a thermometer too. Spinach is cooked nicely. And as you can see, hold a piece of this up there for you. And a little bit of the skin got a little crispy actually. So there we go. We got our spinach in there, tucked in there nice. And if you want your skin crispy, you can just put these babies back in there. And what I usually do is put it on a middle rack if I want my skin to be crunchy. Like babe, she like hers crunchy. So I'm going to take hers out now. She'll eat the two legs, I'll eat the hind quarter. But I'm going to take her two legs out. And to get it crispy, what you want to do is put your oven on broil, but put your temperature on about 350 to 375. You can put it on broil both settings. However, you got to really watch it because the top rack is what cooks when it's on broil. So if you put one on broil and the oven set on broil and the temp on broil, you do risk burning the tops of your food item, especially the skin and stuff. It'll cook and be real crispy and burn almost if you don't watch it. So there we have it. Spinach stuffed chicken, garlic herb injected and marinated chicken, all that. So got all that going on together. Got a vegetable in there, protein, fat, and we're gonna have this on a bed of wild rice. I will check you out at the taste party. Okay, there's the finished product. Got about a 5-ounce piece of chicken. Probably about 4 ounces there after you take, if it was boneless. Got a ½ cup of wild rice. I'm putting some of my salt-free Chef Prudhomme seasoning on it. Light white Italian bread with some light Land O'Lakes butter. And we're going to cut into that chicken and see what this stuff is tasting like here. Okay. Well, I've cut into the chicken. As you can see, that spinach is stuffed in there real good. Another piece over here I can cut. I like this bread because it has sesames on the edges. Alright, time for you to hit the kitchen and stuff your chicken with spinach, inject it with some Mrs. Dash garlic herb blend marinade seasoning. Check it out.